So, Karen, let me just remember. I think you said you live in downtown Chicago, right?
Right.
And I think you had mentioned, like just the idea of like you moved from 5 acres to the high rise lifestyle. Like, how are you liking that? It's such a
I
transition, I imagine.
It is a transition. I will say I had a couple of other homes in between the 5 acres and living in a high rise, but I have adjusted to it beautifully, which I guess you could take from the standpoint of I've been here for 12 years now. This month, in fact, I've lived in my condo for 12 years. And now I can't imagine living any other way. The convenience of, I don't have a car, which is still kind of shocking because I always loved my car. I love driving, and you don't need a car living in the city. I mean, unless you have to, travel for your work or family or whatever. But I would say the majority of people don't even have a car because if you need one, you rent one. And we've got zip cars and we've got the regular car rental places, and so it's just so easy. And if you want to get someplace quick, you hop in a cab or you call Uber or Lyft, and you're there. So
Yep. But you're in downtown, so I mean, I'd imagine you just walk anyway, right?
well, it's kind of a misnomer. I think of downtown. If anybody knows Chicago at all, you've got the Loop. That's where Millennium Park is, State Street, State Street, that great street from the song, and the financial district, and so on and so forth. I am about a mile and a half north in what they call the Magnificent Mile, uh, Streeterville, actually, and off Michigan Avenue, where the Hancock Building is, Water Tower Place, and that kind of thing. And I told a friend the other day, I said, I walk downtown. And she said, well, what do you mean? You live downtown? And I said, no, I think of downtown as the Loop, down where Millennium Park is, and so on and so forth. So I guess it's perception. For somebody in the suburbs, yes, I live downtown. I think of myself, I live in Chicago, and sometimes I walk downtown.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Karen, you're driving me crazy here because to me it's like a mile away is downtown. Like that is to me that's all downtown, which is funny about perception,
Yeah,
right? Because
yeah.
I'm a suburbanite. I've always lived in burbs, with the exception of a stint in San Francisco, and even then we still needed our cars. We still needed to do that distance, which brings me to this thought of our conversation today, because I think perception and how we look at that mindset and how we perceive life kind of feeds all into each other. So the mic is listening to us right now. Karen, are you ready for this?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm thrilled to be here with you.
Awesome. Well, then let's kick off the mic is listening show.
The mic is listening.
The mic is listening.
The mic is listening.
The mic is
The
listening.
mic is listening.
The mic is listening.
listening.
The mic is 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 listening.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to the Mike is Listening show. My name is Sia, and I am the host of the Mike is Listening. So I'm really excited for today. Someone's already made a reference and caught it. Very excited for this episode because it's all about hypnotism and that performance mindset that we all seek to achieve, but it's easier said than done. And for some folks like myself, when you think of hypnotism, you're thinking, oh, it's going to be some shtick, some guy like or gal performing on stage, and you'll be entertained for the evening. But that's not necessarily the case. And when I had met this individual and our guest for today, I got super excited because I do want to learn more about it. I do know that there are things in life that I could handle better than others. And for today's little rant, I want to talk about stress. I don't handle stress well. That is such a hard thing to say. And hopefully you have recognized that in some levels of your life that you'll be under stress for performance, for anxiety, or whatever life throws your way. And it got me thinking as a podcast producer for our digital content creators, there is that stress with the expectation that we are going to deliver content in a timely manner that's interesting, that's valuable, that our audience cares about. And I wonder to some degree how much of it is self-imposed stress, how much of it is really just in our own little minds that we're saying to ourselves, you need to do it this way. You need to make it perfect. You need to do X, Y, Z. Someone else is not going to like it or someone else is doing it better. And I really want everyone to think about today in our discussion of, is it really something that you need to give yourself that performance boost? Do we need a little of that stress to push us forward? If so, how can we control it in a way where it doesn't go out of control, where it overwhelms us? Perfect example, case in point, I had massive hives at the end of my corporate career. Hives. Every week on a forecast call, I broke out into these huge welts all over my body. And a few times it was on my face. And so when I would have meetings with my peers, they would see this big old red blush. And it wasn't a flush. It was like hives, like raised, elongated stuff off your skin. Clearly, that's not healthy. Clearly, I'm a great candidate for today's guest. And I do want to welcome, and I hope everyone enjoys this conversation as much as me, Karen Ross with Karen Ross Now, performance mindset expert. Welcome to the Mike is Listening show.
Oh, hi, Sia. It's so nice to be here with you.
So we chatted a little bit earlier today, and I've gotten to know you through Full Props, Frank Agan, who was a previous guest, his networking group. And Karen, I was just rocked when I first got to meet you, and it was virtually, so we haven't met in person. But the idea of hypnotism, okay, I've mentioned it already. Is it malarkey? Is it really real? What is hypnotism?
Oh boy, there are so many misconceptions about hypnotism. And basically, it's 100% natural. We all actually experience stages and points of hypnotism every day of our lives, in fact. Have you ever driven to work, let's say, or home from work, and you get there and you think, oh my God, I wasn't even in the car. Your mind was off someplace else completely. Well, you're in that's a state of hypnosis. When you wake up in the morning and right before you fall asleep at night, excuse me, you're just in kind of a dreamy state. That's a form of hypnosis. It's just a state of very deep bodily, physical relaxation. Your mind is very focused, it's very alert, and that is where we really experience the value of hypnosis. Now, people, we've seen the stage hypnosis, and frankly, I don't understand how that works. I've never studied it. I'm not interested in doing it, and it obviously has its place in the world of entertainment. But the way I work with hypnosis is working with people who really want to change something in their lives. And they can do it through hypnosis because I believe and have proven, and it's been proven, not just by me, but by researchers, that we do have the ability to change our beliefs, our perceptions, our attitude about things. You commented having hives. Now, something was going on for you mentally that was creating that physical reaction. Now, I'm going to assume that you listened to that message and made a shift in your life, because it looks like you have no hives right now. So I'm assuming you're in a much better place. But let's say that somebody experiences that and they can't make that change for whatever reason. Hypnosis can help them change their perception about what they have to do. Let's say it is a job that they, for whatever reason, feel like they have to stay in. Hypnosis can help them just handle that better. It can help them not have the hives, to do what they need to do in their job, but they don't have to manifest a symptom in their body. But I guess the main point I want to make is that there's nothing scary or creepy about hypnosis. It's very, very natural. And when you have the guide of a professional, you can learn how to use that very effectively. And I teach all of my clients self-hypnosis, and that's where some real changes can take place whenever they're needed.
I think you've nailed it on the head. If I were to go back, and I was in tech corporate sales, which was a high pressure, high performance career, and I did it for 20 odd years. And I think it finally got to me, to be honest, that lack of control. And so, yes, you're right. I did make a change. I launched my own business and became a entrepreneur, and I do podcast production and strategy consulting. So yes, thank you for recognizing that, Karen. I am so much happier. So, but you're right. What if you cannot change? I think what you're saying, and if I had to go back to my corporate world, if I had to go back and be an employee again, or if I was in a management, I would think it would be a great tool to teach my sales team, or if I'm in any organization, my team in general, to learn how to self hypnotize. So let me take a step back. If I were to approach this to my HR and say, look, I've got a group of 8 high performers, but it's high stress. I think there's a way to help them be better performers through hypnosis. I'm going to get challenged. Can anyone be hypnotized? Because is it going to be where, hey, I want to do an activity and everyone's like blows it off? I mean, can anyone be hypnotized? These high performers versus those that are like embrace the concept?
Absolutely, anybody can be hypnotized, and it's proven by what I mentioned, the examples of driving someplace or some. There are a lot of things we do as second nature because our subconscious knows how to do it. They've done it. Our subconscious has done it so many times, and what we do. Well, first of all, I want to go back and just acknowledge your scenario of going into HR. And yeah, probably if you said, I want to hypnotize all my, all my salespeople, they'd say, wait a minute, So I probably wouldn't lead with that. Okay. And so performance mindset is basically the way I focus on it. And we happen to use hypnosis as a tool. Okay. I teach a lot of different techniques. Where we really make the change in perception is through hypnosis. And I mentioned familiarity. The mind loves familiarity. It hates new stuff. We resist new stuff. No, I don't want to change that. That's what our conscious mind says. And what we do with hypnosis is we reach the subconscious because you're so relaxed. And somebody obviously has to want to make the change in the first place. We're not going to take somebody that is resisting and saying, I don't want to change that. Hypnosis isn't going to work because they don't want to make the change. But right. In hypnosis, and when the subconscious is open and ready to receive, that's where we install new thoughts, new beliefs. And we may have had other beliefs that haven't served us very well. We can get rid of those. We can actually get rid of those. There's been so much research in the last 10, 20 years on the brain, and we've learned so much. I think we used to think that certain thoughts and beliefs and habits and so on were in place for life. They're written in stone, and there's nothing we can do about it. Well, they've discovered that, we've got all these neural pathways in our brain, and some of them are very, very deep for sure. And, but we can always build new neural pathways. That's the trick. We can get in there and change our mind. We can change the way our brain thinks. And that's by putting in new thoughts, making them familiar and making them, more familiar than the old thoughts. And that's where the shift can take place.
So you're saying you can teach an old dog new tricks?
Absolutely.
And Absolutely. It's a question whether that dog wants to be taught and is open to being taught.
Sometimes dogs are resistant, aren't they?
Okay, now we know I'm extrapolating this to say
I know.
Humans, okay?
I know.
For those that are on my Facebook feed, hint, just saying, my California and Texas friends, just saying, both of you. Anyway, so I digress. But okay, so I'm a control freak, despite my laid back persona, if you will. I do, and it was a late recognition for me that I am a control freak to a certain degree. Things that are important to me, I'm a control freak. So I don't like sharing my personal thoughts. I know I'm a private person when it comes to my real deep stuff. Does that mean that, like, I lose some sense of control while I'm hypnotized? Like, am I going to be doing that chicken dance, whatever? I mean, help me understand that.
No, you're in complete control. I keep referring back. Excuse me. I'm not not sure what's going on with it, but I'm trying to drink the tea and keep it clear. So excuse me for that.
Not a problem at all. Look, that's why I keep drinking out of my mug. And yes, this is head size, but that's because I like to stay hydrated with caffeine.
Okay. Okay. No, you're in complete control. And I know that is a concern that some people have.
Yeah.
And if we were to hear that the building's on fire, you would be alert, know exactly what to do immediately. And you're not in some strange trance that you have to be brought out of. That's kind of the mystique of hypnosis that is inaccurate. So you're in complete control at all times.
Okay. So what I've heard, because I have a girlfriend that gets hypnotized, and she just tells me it's more like you're just like super relaxed. It's like this, like you mentioned, it's like that space between falling asleep and being asleep. But is it like being asleep? Because at that moment, I guess you're consciously
like-
aware that you're about to fall asleep, but I don't understand
Yeah.
what you're saying,
It's
being in
kinda-
complete control, though.
Your body's more in your body feels like it's asleep. And in fact, that's kind of the way we induce hypnosis, is to help you relax the body.
Okay.
And the more relaxed the body is, the more open and relaxed the subconscious can be also. But it have you heard the different brain wave levels? We have delta, beta, alpha. It's an alpha brain wave that you enter, which is just very, very relaxed, very
Slower.
open. You know, if you're you strike, as you said, we haven't met in person, but the times that we've been together, I see you as a high energy person, and you probably are very active physically. And so it may not be that easy for you to just totally relax. Thankfully, you do go to sleep every night because your body needs that rest. But other than that, it may be difficult for you to just give way and relax your body and relax your mind. Well, when you have a professional guiding you and you're willing, and that's really what you want, is that relaxation, you'd be amazed at how easy it is to get relaxed. And we use certain techniques, and then we teach you techniques that you can use on your own. I mean, one of my goals is to teach my clients self-hypnosis. So, I mean, they're not going to have me around to relax them all the time. So they learn techniques and tools so that whenever they want, and especially when they need it, they can go into that state themselves.
So let me ask you this then, because now you've really piqued my interest. Is hypnosis and self-hypnosis a form of meditation? Is it similar techniques? Is it different? What's the difference?
Well, it's different and similar.
Okay.
I mean, a lot of people, when they go to meditate, they complain that the mind keeps
Racing.
and going, and most meditation teachers will tell us just kind of let that happen. Well, in hypnosis, it is less likely to happen because we're really focusing. You're going to, if I'm doing the hypnosis, you're going to be focusing on my words. You're going to be focusing on things that I might be telling you to visualize. So you're going to have a different focus. With meditation, it's just a little more open, a little freer. Of course, there's guided meditation too, but that doesn't necessarily have a goal. Meditation doesn't have a goal in mind typically, other than meditation. And yes, bringing you some inner peace and some relaxation. But they're similar in that they create relaxation, openness for the mind, but they're different in process and how you get there.
And okay, so now Gosh, I could talk to you all day, Karen. So, okay, let me get my question out here. Okay, so I used to, and Dr. Rob Bell's on. I don't know if you know him as well from Frank's group, but he's a performance coach as well, but typically around athletes, professional athletes, and it triggered a thought. I used to run track back in the day, and I'd like to think I am still active, but girl, let me tell you, no, not as active as I used to. But when I did run track, and I did run competitively, I used to envision the race in my head. I would stand there on the track and I would literally I counted my steps and I focused on what it would feel like, what I would, what motions I needed to do, where my arm positioning was, where my knees and my legs and my feet needed to be. Is that a technique similar to hypnosis to get you into that zone? Because when I did
Oh,
do that, I got so focused. And I remember once I just felt it. I vibed it. I was like, I envisioned my race and I ended up winning that invitational. So is
absolutely.
that a technique you're saying?
Absolutely. And I too work with athletes and use a lot of techniques that, I mean, what we find is that even some of the very high performance elite athletes still suffer those little niggling thoughts of doubt and, oh my God, maybe this one was good. What if the next one isn't? Just a lot of thoughts like that. And we can work together to get rid of those thoughts or stop them. Maybe they'll continue to come, but we can stop them and change them. And I have several techniques that are really good for people to use. And we determine, when is a good time to trigger a new thought or a word. We work with power words that can replace those negative words that pop up. One of my favorites is creating a circle of excellence that the individual can step into anytime they need it. And I should point out that, I mean, you use the example of athletics, and boy, did anybody teach you to do what you did, or did you just know that intuitively?
I would like to think it's because of my genius, Karen, but
I'm sure it was.
the truth is I think it was a combination of I had an amazing coach that would just say, "Hey guys, be the race," whatever. But I did do a lot of reading as a kid. Like I did want to get a college scholarship to run. So I don't know where I got it from, but I know it wasn't in my, it wasn't a genius thought. I know I got it somewhere. I just don't know where.
Yeah, but a lot of people don't get that. They just don't get that. And so you were way ahead of things. So good for you. Good for you. But the point I was going to make is that people are performing in all kinds of environments. Maybe it isn't just athletics. Stage performers, actors, singers, performers have very similar situations and doubts and fears that athletes would have. And then you can carry it into the business world, senior executives, entrepreneurs. That we're all performing. If we're out there doing anything, we're performing. And sometimes we can come home and say, wow, I had a good day today. I really did well. Or we can come home and say, this was a crap day. I did a terrible job. What do you want to hear in your mind when you come home, no matter what you've been out there doing during the day?
I love that because I don't do this enough. And so I'm sure folks that are listening, we don't do enough self-reflection. At least if we don't do enough self-reflection that has a positive result, meaning you could have a crappy day, but what do you learn from it? What can you get from it? And so if I want to de-stress myself, Karen, is there like a technique that you recommend that's quick and easy and simple, like that someone could do right now to at least get them started on the path of getting more centered, if you will, and maybe perhaps, engaging you after they, do this exercise every now and then, or for your self-hypnotism? Is there a technique you offer or
Well,
suggest?
I think, first of all, they have to really want to have a shift in how they feel. And they have to be willing to stop their activity and just take the time to sit, and it doesn't have to be a long time. In fact, I remember learning this about meditation. I always thought that, oh, if I'm going to meditate, I've got to set aside a half an hour. I've got to do this and so on and so forth. And when I finally heard and accepted, you could just meditate for 3 minutes and it can have a difference in your life. Well, the same thing here. Once you learn how to self-hypnotize, and one of the easiest ways to put yourself in that state of subconscious openness and conscious relaxation or physical relaxation is to just be very focused about moving down your body and tightening, excuse me, just kind of tightening. I carry a lot of stress in my jaw, and I think a lot of people do. I don't think that's unusual. And I will suddenly realize I'm clenching my teeth and I am really tight up here. And so when I get that sense, then I open my jaw and just kind of let it drop. And I let my tongue drop. We don't realize that we kind of hold stress in our tongue. That sounds kind of crazy. But if you relax your jaw and then let your tongue kind of rest on the bottom of your mouth, it's amazing how your whole head relaxes. Well, then just move down to the neck and the shoulders, another place how many times do you find yourself kind of sitting like this, with your shoulders, and to just let them drop, just consciously see them.
Yeah, no,
really,
but
really
but I feel it. I hear what you're saying. So, gosh, Karen, that is great advice. So I'm going to make sure
the whole body,
all the way down.
When and you get to your hands, tighten them up, make a real tight fist, and then let them go. Let them go. Tighten your tummy. That's another place a lot of people carry much stress. Tighten it up, make it real tight, and then let it go. And it's the conscious letting go that will help your body relax, and then your mind's going to be more relaxed.
Hey, that sounds like an exercise. maybe I'll get my abs back. So now that you mentioned like letting your body relax it from the top of your head all the way down and being, again, consciously walking yourself through it, that absolutely makes sense. Does that correlate then when you and I were talking about earlier, and I actually want to do a little series about it, which is funny, called Shower Thoughts? Is that in essence what's happening? Because when I'm in the shower, I come up with the best genius ideas, words of wisdom, nuggets, best comebacks 48 hours later.
Yeah.
Shower. Is that what I'm doing?
Well, you're in one of those states of hypnosis, like driving and not realizing how you got there. I have taken a shower now. Did I put cream rinse? Did I put rinse on my hair? I'm not sure if I did or not. Yeah. And that I was in a little bit of hypnosis because, again, it's a familiar activity. The body knows what to do, and it just kind of does it by routine and by relax. But that's when your mind is open and great ideas come to you. I've had the same thing happen. And I always wish I had waterproof pencil and paper. But you said something about tell me.
A whiteboard.
I love that.
You know what? I'm going to make a product, a whiteboard, Shower Thoughts, and actually brand it as such. No one steal my idea, people. No whiteboard manufacturer should steal my idea. Or I can probably do
broadcasted it.
No, exactly.
I think it's a great idea. I really do.
Yeah, I mean, oh my goodness gracious, great balls of fire. I mean, if I ever wanted to do it, it actually makes sense. And you could literally, stop stealing my idea, people. I can see it right now. So I am so loving this conversation, Karen. And for those that want to get a hold of you, sit down with you, understand what it is that they can do to, create better performance, better satisfaction in their lives, and understanding how to handle stress, for example, how could they get a hold of you?
Well, you can just go to my very simple website, Karen Ross Now. And the now just means do it now. Just do it now. But KarenRossNow.com. You can email me through the site. Love to talk to people. I usually have a clearer throat. But I work on Zoom all the time. And even though I'm in Chicago, I can work with people wherever they are. And we do it on Zoom, and people like that because they're comfortable in their own environment. And if they do want to just kind of lay back and really get comfortable, it's easy to do that.
Oh my gosh, just mentioning that right there, I probably should have asked is there a difference between Zoom? And we're going to go long now because I'm asking this question. Is there a difference between a two-dimensional, consult, if you will, coaching session versus in person? Do you feel that difference?
I do not. And, there may be some people maybe who've been in therapy for many years and feel like they have to have that physical, and that's fine. I have not found that it's impacted my practice or anybody that I've worked with. If anything, as I said, they kind of like it. They like being in their own environment. They don't have to fight traffic, to get any place. And it's easier to carve out that time and just know all they have to do is sit down in a place where they're relaxed, and it's worked well.
Oh my gosh, Karen Ross, performance mindset expert. By the way, I did not mention this, but peak performance mindset expert, and as well as a rapid transformational therapist. And this is trademarked, and I wanted to make sure I said it because it is unique. It is Karen. She's awesome. And anyone that's interested, please go to KarenRossNow.com. Karen, thank you so much for coming.
Well, you're welcome. Let me just clarify. I didn't trademark Rapid Transformational Therapist. That is a certification that I have that is trademarked, but I'm not the creator of it. But that's what really put me on the road to hypnosis. And it is a fabulous technique that really accomplishes great things.
Well, thank you very much, Karen. I will definitely update that. So yes, so we don't want any trademark infringement. So thank you so much, Karen.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And so now, just to wrap things up here, you guys definitely check out KarenRossNow.com. Look at stress. That was the theme. And then, of course, the Hypnotize me, if you will. It is not BS. It's actually real. So check it out. Do want to mention 2 podcast episodes that are out this week. That is the Afterglow every Friday live stream with Aaron and myself, and we are the Dallas Chairs for Global Leaders Organization. So we talk about business concepts of the Thursday speaker that Glow puts together. This week is going to be with Joseph Barasanze talking about ESG in small business. So environmental, social governance, and how that impacts small businesses. And also the DLC drop with John Davidson for all those that are in esports. And if you happen to be in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, I know I'm dating myself here, but if you want to, we're celebrating the 1-year anniversary over at the Sundown at the Granada next week. So check that out. So DLC drop. Awesome. If you want to learn more about esports industry information, and Afterglow, if you want to look and debate with us the merits of business concepts that the Global Leaders Organization Business Acceleration 2.0 series speakers, let's see, check out their merits. On that note, guys, thanks so much for joining the Mic is Listening, and we shall see ya next week.